Let's get a check of the top business news stories. Our business editor, Kate Moody's here. Hi there, Kate.
Hi,
Google playing a bit of catch-up in artificial intelligence. Tell us more.
Yeah, well, you might remember a few months ago, its first foray into AI wasn't entirely successful. Its conversational chatbot called Bard had some rather embarrassing problems when it was unveiled earlier this year. Now, though, Google is opening Bard up to the public, and it's bringing some of those AI capabilities to its most popular product, its search engine. It means that Google Search will start offering AI technology for questions you never thought Google could answer, according to that announcement earlier on. It'll also start including a next-generation language model called PaLM 2 into about 25 new Google products and features. The rollout of a number of AI chatbots by the likes of Microsoft, Alibaba, and Baidu has raised concerns among regulators around the world. They're struggling to catch up with this fast-developing technology. This Thursday, European lawmakers are set to vote on a set of laws that would address, amongst other things, copyright and privacy issues in the sector.
One of the reasons why I think the time is really now to do this is because we really need guardrails for the quality of the models, because they are rolled out large scale, so many businesses but also users will start using them. And any problems in the quality of the models or the training data will trickle down into all the downstream users, which is, I think, why this is actually preferably yesterday, but this is the time to lay down ground rules.
Inflation in the U.S. has dropped to its lowest level in 2 years. Consumer prices in April were slightly higher than in March, but when looking at the annual figures, the picture is a bit brighter. Inflation dropped to 4.9% compared to the same month a year earlier. That's slightly less than the 5% that was estimated by most economists. It is significantly lower than the recent peak of 9.1% last June, but more than double the Federal Reserve's 2% target. Well, last week, America's central bank raised its key lending rate to just over 5%, the 10th consecutive meeting at which it had hiked interest rates. Jerome Powell did, though, hint that policymakers may now pause their monetary tightening as they seek a balance between containing inflation and supporting slowing economic growth. I've been speaking to Susanna Streeter of Hargreaves Lansdowne. She says that behind those numbers, many households and businesses are still suffering from the high cost of living.
The increase in prices that we've seen still, because remember, even though inflation is coming down, it doesn't mean to say that prices are dropping. They're just increasing at a slower rate. And what you saw because of the OPEC plus cartel reducing production to try and boost oil prices, that fed through to gasoline prices, for example. And so it is still painful, but there are some signs that the cost of living pressures are easing, with food inflation coming down as well. But for example, sales of used cars, there's still an inflationary pressure. But we are expecting some of those elements to come down, certainly in the weeks to come. And if you look at the oil price, it has retraced its steps downwards because of concerns about the global economy and the slowdown, and worries that actually the US could be heading for recession, and so overall demand for oil will slow. And that's why we should see lower energy prices feeding through and bringing down inflation further in the months to come.
Well, one of the big drivers of inflation remains the cost of energy. Petrol prices in France, in particular, do remain higher than in neighbouring economies. A consumer watchdog has accused distributors of taking excessive profits, as James Mulholland explains.
Petrol prices across Europe have begun to fall, but not in France. And French motorists want to know why.
Prices are still high. They have been for a while, but what can you do?
When oil prices rise, petrol follows instantly, but when they drop, there's always a delay.
I think they're making obscene profits. It's unbelievable.
A consumer watchdog points to gross profit margins for diesel in 2022. At the start of the year, before Russia invaded Ukraine, distributors were taking around 18 cents per litre profit. Compare that to 29 cents per litre last month. This despite a drop in crude prices.
In the first quarter of 2022, it makes sense. They lost money, so they wanted to make up the difference. But now, in May 2023, there is no reason for prices to remain so high. They have to come back to a normal level, and that would see fuel prices drop by at least 10 cents per litre.
Distributors say they don't have a choice, blaming rising logistics expenses for their prices.
There are many factors at play here. There's the cost of storage, the cost of transport, and also rising salaries.
Distributors also blame oil companies, saying that in order for fuel prices to come down, the producers must do so first. On Tuesday, the government repeated calls for oil producers, including top energy provider Total, to take action to lower the price at the pump.
Environmental and human rights protesters have targeted a Volkswagen shareholders meeting. Several of those demonstrators were escorted out of the building after a member of the audience threw what appears to be a cake at board member Wolfgang Porsche. You can see in the images here he narrowly avoided being hit in the face by what we're told was indeed a cake. There it comes there. Demonstrators said they were angry over Volkswagen's ongoing presence in China, and in particular in the region of Xinjiang, where Uyghur Muslims are widely believed to be detained and abused by Chinese authorities. Volkswagen has denied allegations that forced labor is used in its factories and said constructive dialogue is always important. This meeting offering a good opportunity, according to the car company, Tom, for that kind of dialogue. Not much dialogue taking place there.
No.
But some cake being thrown about.
I hope it was a good cake. It looked like a chocolate one.
I think that would have been a terrible waste, wouldn't it?
It would have been. I'd have had a slice anyway. Thank you very much indeed, Kate Moody. I've never wanted to say no to a piece of cake. Armin Zedev, thank you very much indeed.